Hi, welcome to Moose Show this week. I'm Lyle Johnson, the host, and today we've got a little bit of memory lane and future Hall of Fame stuff. So I'm sure you want to listen. Daniel Scott Tysdal is a former Moose Jaw resident, Bailden by birth, I guess we would say, and he has gone on after high school to the University of Toronto, where now he's employed as a professor at the university and was recently in Moose Jaw for the Festival of the Words because he's a writer and an author. Daniel, welcome home.
Hey, thank you, Mr. J. So lovely to be here and see you and have the chance to chat with you.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't get together when you were in town
Yeah,
because your time was all booked up. You had a lot of things going on.
yeah. The festival kept me busy, and then of course I haven't been home, in the summer in like 2, 3 years. So yeah, lots of friends and family to catch up on. But I thought that was just a classic Moose Jaw experience that I was just walking around and bumped into you and got to have a hug
Yeah,
and a quick little chat.
yeah, yeah. We're on my way to trivia at
Yeah, of
Bobby's
course.
place.
Yeah.
And there you were. I said, I want to see Dan. And I was trying to contact you and looking for ways of doing it. And there you were.
Yeah.
And these people in the street going, what's
Yeah,
going on?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I, you got home for this thing, and it was a wonderful experience. You got to co-host some stuff and also do a session of your own.
Yeah.
And so let's just talk about that experience. This is not the first time you've been home for this.
Yeah. So overall, my relationship with the festival has been kind of since day one. When I would have been just finishing high school, I think, when the first session was festival was run, and so of course I attended it, and that way through, got connected with Bob Curry and Gary Highland, who basically sat down with a bunch of young writers and said, what can we do for you, and they helped us run a monthly open mic and reading series through the festival. So yeah, I had, really my career as a writer got boosted by that festival. And then in 2006 I had the chance to launch my first book at the festival, which was really special. And my publisher was very smart. They set up my launch in the hallway outside of Margaret Atwood's event. So when her event ended, the 500 people that were there for her could just well, not all five, but 50 of them could stay at my event. So that made for a good launch. And then yeah, coming back again this time, especially this is my first in-person event since before the pandemic, so it was special in so many ways.
And your mom and dad were happy to see you at home too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was so beautiful having them in the audience and being able to share this work with them there, and other family members and friends
Yeah.
as well.
We should talk a bit. I don't have a copy of that book, but it's quite a unique visual thing as
Yeah.
well as tell me about where that idea came from.
Yeah, so it's inspired by I was a huge fan of Mad Magazine when I was a kid, and so love the fold-ins that Al Jaffe had at the end of every issue, where you have an image and some words that set up a bit of a joke, and you fold the page over to get the punchline. And so I actually always wanted to write a fold-in poem. As soon as I became a poet, and I would try to write these fold-in poems, but you'd write the poem and you'd fold it, and that last line would just be nonsense. And so it was actually at the festival, maybe in the early aughts. It was at an event with Lorna Crozier and Sherry Benning, and something about their brilliance and magic made me realize with the fold-in poem that you have to write the last line first, so you know which words to plant throughout the poem. And so that's when I wrote my first fold-in poem. And then a few years ago, when I was having a rough time again, mental health wise, you know, in experiencing madness, and I thought, wow, the mad fold-in poem is a perfect vehicle for exploring that. And so that's where this whole new book project coming out in the end of September, how that whole project came about.
And that's something you just touched on. And of course, a fellow like you has a lot of high energy, a lot of high pressure world going on. And you have had some mental health issues over the years,
Yeah,
but you're not afraid to talk about that and share that and make sure that people understand it
yeah.
happens to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was really teaching that, it was obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but it was definitely something that I, kind of hid and sort of kept to myself, and, dealt with through, family and my partner and whatnot. But it was actually through teaching where I'd hear the students talking and hear what they're going through and share a little bit about my experience. And once I saw the impact and power and importance of that, I said, okay, let's get strong. Let's talk about this. And it was actually a TEDx talk run through UTSC, where it was my first kind of time sort of using mental health and creative writing pedagogy, bringing the two together, that then really kind of opened that door for some poems like this, or a personal essay that I wrote about my love of movies and TIFF, and things like that. And yeah, as I said, it really was just that connection with the students that spurred me to kind of head in this direction. And obviously it's helped me so much too, to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Your love of movies is another thing that you're just a crazy man with movies. That's it. So, because the Toronto Film Festival, every year I look forward to your going to these things and get your reviews of the movies that are coming out there. That's really well done. Being a former drama teacher and having you as a student makes me doubly proud of
Exactly.
the
No,
insight you show.
yeah, really. Yeah, obviously, really had my love of movies nurtured through you, and yeah, being here and having the festival as that opportunity. And this year, I'm on, as I mentioned before, I'm on a half sabbatical, so
Yes,
I'll really be able to dive into the festival with no time off.
yeah, we weren't talking. I don't think we were on when that happened. So let's just catch people up on
Yeah.
what you're doing with you, because you're now a movie mogul.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of similar experience that you're aware of too. You teach people and you mentor them, and then you give them advice, etc. And so I had a student who just came to me to talk about it. He'd made some short films and played them in student festivals, and just wanted my advice on making a feature film. And I've never done that, but I have some experience with short films, and of course writing films. And so yeah, I kind of shared my thoughts, and then the relationships just grew from there. So I came on as an executive producer, and yeah, we're really heading into production now. Got the full team together. Are going to shoot in October. The Only Bar on King Street, it's called. Check it out. Really brilliant original script, and it's going to be a very, very powerful movie.
Just a multitude of talents sharing. Yeah, and one of your other talents, of course, in high school you were quite a basketball player, and I was at the Center walking this morning, and there, Pete Lapointe, who's a local legend in high school athletic and stuff like that,
Yeah.
was walking with me, and we were talking about. I said I was excited to have you on my show today, and he said, "I know him." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, we played basketball one summer." And
Yeah.
but do you still keep? Do you hit the hoops at all now? Or
So I went for a long spell without playing, and then before the pandemic, there's a it's kind of a group of it's an interesting group. I got into it through writers, through Pasha Mala and Craig Davidson. There's a couple other writers. Shad is in it, and then there's some like guys that act, and then there's some guys that are like home renovators. It's a real mix, and they played a Wednesday night game, and so I got back into that and just experienced that classic aging experience where your mind still remembers how it works and your mind remembers what you could do, but your body is about 10 steps behind. To start with, it felt like the ball was actually a cube, in my hands. But just to share a little bit of recent news. So I haven't played basketball since. I shot some hoops with my sister when I was home, but I've actually started doing some training, some pro wrestling training. And I do that twice a week. And that's a blast.
I could just who's the guy from Robin Williams era who played the
Oh yeah, like Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I fell in love with pro wrestling again over the pandemic, and my wife's a big fan too. So it just became something that we watched. And as things were kind of opening up again, I was just like, again, you not feeling great, the pandemic wearing on you, online teaching. And so I thought, I'm going to go to one pro wrestling class just as like a boost, just so I can say I stood in a wrestling ring, I bounced off the ropes, and I went to one class, and it was hard. And obviously I was terrible, but it was such a supportive, inspiring group that I was like, oh, I'll do one more. And then we moved back to Toronto, and I'm like, well, and then all of a sudden, I go twice a week, barring aches and pains of being an old man. Sometimes I'll take 3 weeks off or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Super Kicked is the name of the organization. Check it out. They have their shows on YouTube. Really, really awesome group.
Are you in those shows?
No, I am definitely not at that level. My goal, though, because I have little goals through this process. They do a thing that like our student shows, where it's just an exhibition that happens at the studio. So my big dream is to one day wrestle in a student show if I can get there. If I can survive
If your body laughs.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think what the
Yeah.
the bruises you come.
And they take a little bit longer to go away than when you were
They
17.
do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just kind of like, roll your ankle and come back and play ball the next day.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe in 3 weeks, if I really tape it, I can wrestle again.
Yeah. Well, Dan, we're into our last minute already, if you can believe that, because we're just zipping along. But you talked about you're on half sabbatical, so you're doing some work on your movie, but also what else? Another book in the works?
Yeah, so one thing I'm doing is working on some fun material to promote the Mad Folden poems. So the Mad Folden poems, The End is in the Middle is the book that comes out end of September. So I'm making some videos, some fun little Folden Instagram posts and things like that. So that's what I was doing this morning. And yeah, so I am gonna try my hand at a novel again. I've written 2 novels, revised them, and they remain unpublished. But I'm gonna take a third shot, and I'm gonna try to write. This won't surprise what we've talked about. I'm trying to write a kind of like pro wrestling noir novel, like kind of like pro wrestling crime novel. We'll see how that goes.
Always an adventure, Daniel. Always an adventure. And so I want to say thanks for taking time out of your schedule to get connected with us. You had a summer off, which is a strange thing. And recently you got to go to your the cabin in Quebec and parlez-vous de français avec toutes les mains. Yeah, which is good. And I'm so glad to hear and see your bright and shining face. And I'll make sure that Pete Lapointe watches this and says, he remembers you, Pete.
That's right.
Yeah. Tall guy. Anyway, Daniel, good luck and continued success with the writing. Thanks for sharing these wonderful ideas that you have come up with for your stories and your poems and now your movies. It's always an adventure connecting with you. So
thank you
thanks
so much, Mr. J. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And for you people watching out there, please enjoy Daniel's works. Check him out. Check out the internet. You'll be able to find where his books are available and stuff. And they are available in town if you want to check out the stories that he shares. And I know that you'll find it a challenge and you'll find it entertaining. So thanks to Daniel for being my guest today. And thanks to you for watching. And we'll see you again soon on Moose Jaw this week.